How's it going, guys? Alex here. Welcome back to another SSR analysis video, and today we are taking a look at the Dokkan Vegeta units. But before I do get into it, I want to thank the Dokkan subreddit for providing the translations. But if we get started with the physical Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, his leader skill gives a 33% attack boost to physical types per physical orb obtained. He causes supreme damage and has a rare chance to stun. And if we have a look at his passive, he changes rainbow orbs into physical orbs. And he also gets a 20% attack and defensive boost. And if we have a look at his links, he has Super Saiyan, Warrior God, Prodigies, Super God Combat, Resurrection F, Prepared for Battle, and Fierce Battle. So compared to the tech Super Saiyan Blue Goku, this Vegeta got a much bigger buff. He can now stun, and instead of just getting an attack boost, he also gets a defensive boost. He now has the Fierce Battle link, which increases the amount of damage that he can do. He's always had a Prepared for Battle link, which is obviously a good thing for monophysical. Also, his orb changing abilities can be very useful if you are using a unit like Goku Black, but overall he is definitely a decent card. So if we now move on to the STR Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, his leader skill gives a 30% attack and defensive boost to all types. He causes supreme damage, he gets a 100% attack boost upon super attack, and if we have a look at his links, he has Super Saiyan, Warrior God, Prodigies, Super God Combat, Resurrection F, Prepared for Battle, and Fierce Battle. So the two main links that have been added are Prepared for Battle and Fierce Battle. He gets a 100% attack boost when performing a super attack, which obviously makes him one of the hardest hitters in the game. The only problem with him having Prepared for Battle is that he doesn't fit too well on a mono STR team, but he would definitely be a very good unit on a hero team, especially if you link him with the AGL Super Saiyan Blue Goku. But overall he has been improved massively and is a very solid unit. But if we now move on to the AGL Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, his leader skill gives a 30% attack and defensive boost to all types. He causes supreme damage. He gets an 80% attack and defensive boost when he super attacks. And if we have a look at his links, he has Super Saiyan, Warrior God, Prodigies, Super God Combat, Resurrection F, Prepared for Battle, and Fierce Battle. So not only does this Vegeta get an attack boost, but he also gets a defensive boost, which makes him a decent tank. He does hit pretty hard by himself, but one of his main purposes is definitely to power up the AGL Super Saiyan Blue Goku. When the AGL Super Saiyan Blue Goku and this Vegeta are linked together, it activates all of their attack links, thus making the AGL Super Saiyan Blue Goku a harder hitter than Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken. Now, I'm not going to go too in-depth into it, but basically the reason why the AGL Super Saiyan Blue Goku outdamages Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken when linked with Vegeta is because regular Super Saiyan Blue Goku has Super Saiyan and Super God Combat, which provide him with an additional 25% attack boost, which is enough to outdamage Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken. And some of you are probably wondering what happens when Vegeta is linked with Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken. Well, the answer is still the same because he is missing those two links. That allows the regular one to outdamage Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken. But overall, this Vegeta is extremely solid. He's a decent unit at face value, but thanks to his Dokkan, you can now have one of the best combos on a mono AGL team. But the one that we've all been waiting for, the INT Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. His leader skill gives a 100% stat boost to INT types. He lowers the attack and defense of extreme types by 20%, and he gets an unconditional 100% attack boost. He causes immense damage, and his attack raises for 3 turns. And if we have a look at his links, he has Super Saiyan, Saiyan Warrior Race, Warrior Gods, Prodigies, the Vegeta family, Prepared for Battle, and Fierce Battle. So this Vegeta is clearly very good. He's an extremely hard hitter because he has immense damage, and he also raises his attack for 3 turns. There is no confirmation as of yet if his super attack is going to be farmable, but if it is, he is easily going to hit for over 400k, and thanks to some recent additions to the INT type, he actually fits relatively well on a mono INT team. Granted, you do need to run a particular set of units, but if you do have those specific units, you can run a really good INT team. My only real problem with this card is that he only lowers the attack and defense of extreme types, which is obviously great if you are taking on villain events, but it would be much better if you lower the attack and defense of everyone. But if we now move on to the final part of this video, in first place comes the INT Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, in second place comes the AGL Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, in third place comes the STR Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, which means that in last place comes the physical Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. Now, it's fairly obvious why the INT type is the best of the 4. He hits the hardest, he can debuff on some occasions, he causes immense damage, and he obviously has the leader skill for INT types. Now, this is the one where people may debate a little, but I do believe that the AGL Super Saiyan Blue is slightly better, primarily because of the defensive boost and the fact that he fits better on a mono AGL team. But if we were to take away the mono teams, I would still prefer the AGL over the STR. STR would definitely be better on a hero team, but in the end I do believe that the agility type is slightly better, with the STR type being slightly behind, but I'm pretty sure it's fairly obvious why the physical type is in the last spot. It's not confirmed, but his chance of stunning is around 25%, maybe even less. He isn't going to hit anywhere near as hard as the others. His best use is definitely the orb changing, which, as I said before, can be very useful if you have units like Goku Black. But unfortunately he does pale in comparison to the others, but he is a decent unit nonetheless. So from now on, I will most likely be adding this team building section to my SSR analysis videos, just to go a bit more in depth as to why a unit works on their mono team and why it doesn't. So let's get straight into it with the INT Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta and how he works on a mono INT team. This is obviously just a placeholder because he isn't currently in the database, but he fits pretty damn well. You would think that he would struggle for key, obviously because the main link for a mono INT team is shocking speed, but he surprisingly fits well if you do have certain units. As you can see right here, we have Android 13, who is an orb changer, so he is going to be providing plenty of orb paths for this Vegeta, and obviously your other units. You have Trunks, who is self-sufficient and also has Prepared for Battle, which obviously allows you to link up with Vegeta, and he also has the Vegeta family, which is even better. Turles also has Prepared for Battle, so that's another 2 key. And not to mention that he also gives free key to all types, if I'm not mistaken. Let's have a quick look. And he also gives free key to all types when HP is 50% or above. And you're probably wondering, okay, what if his restriction does run out? But if the special thing about a mono INT team is that, thanks to Buhan, it's extremely easy to maintain with the amount of debuffs, healing. It honestly isn't too much of a problem, and you can easily make it that his passive goes off every turn. On the odd situation that you have Vegeta, Buhan and Janemba on the same turn, it is a bit unfortunate because you may have to sacrifice his super attack to obviously allow Buhan or Janemba to attack, but the majority of the time you will be able to get at least one of these 4 together, which should be way more than enough to allow Vegeta to super attack. We've seen Trunks in action on a mono INT team, and he hasn't had any problems at all. And I'm pretty sure that Turles wasn't even in there. Another unit was in there. I'm pretty sure it's either Ultimate Gohan or Super Saiyan God Goku. Because he obviously does have the shocking speed link. Well, they both do, and they fit very well in a mono INT team. But realistically, if you did want to implement Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta into a team, this is probably the best one. If there may be a few changes that you can make. You could potentially get rid of Turles and put INT Orb Changer Goku in there, but I would honestly prefer putting in Turles because he gives free key to all types. So that is the INT team over and done with, and as you can probably tell by the STR team, this isn't really that optimal. We are missing a few optimal units. Obviously we aren't using Beerus or Gogeta just to make way for these 2 units, and to realistically optimize the Vegeta, you would have to use Super Saiyan Blue Goku. Otherwise, if you were just to use him by himself, it really isn't the greatest choice because you could just easily replace him with the STR Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, who has Prepared for Battle as well, but he is also self-sufficient and he hits much harder, so realistically there isn't any point in running him by himself unless you are pairing him up with Goku, but as I said before, he isn't optimal. It works okay. Obviously, you did have 3 units a minute ago. If I just do this quickly, you do have these 3 units that share links, but it just doesn't really work too well. You do have Super Saiyan God Goku, who bridges the gaps between obviously these 3 units and these 2 units rather. But overall, it isn't optimal. But if we now move on to the agility team, it is a completely different matter. All of these units have the Prepared for Battle link. All of these units are very, very good. Obviously, Super Saiyan Rose, Super Vegito, Super Saiyan Blue Goku, the rebirth for the starter Goku, and we have the rebirth for the Super Saiyan GT Goku. They are all very, very good units. They all hit extremely hard, which is awesome. And you can just solely run a Prepared for Battle team if you wanted to. You can maybe even make a few changes here and there. You could get rid of the rebirths. There we go. For some reason they weren't leaving. You could easily just get rid of the rebirths and maybe even put the androids in them, obviously because they share shocking speed with Super Vegito, and Super Saiyan Rose gives free key to extreme types. And you can maybe even go ahead and put Raleigh in there, but realistically you would want to put Gohan in there because if I'm not mistaken, he does have the Saiyan lineage, which is fairly common amongst these units if I'm not mistaken. And no, unfortunately it isn't, but he does have shocking speed with the androids, so it fits fairly well, and it is optimal. You can easily run this team and walk through a lot of the events. You may struggle a bit with the Emerging Master event, obviously, but overall it's definitely an incredible team. They all fit very well and you don't really struggle for that much key. But if we now move on to the physical team all of these units have the Prepared for Battle link. Obviously we have the Orb Changer in Vegeta, which is awesome if you are using Goku Black, as I've said many times before. But apart from that, he doesn't really provide much. he obviously does have the chance to stun, but you don't really want that if you are running Vegito Blue, because you obviously want to get the counters off. You have a great support unit in Trunks. You have Gotenks who steal super attacks. You have Brody who just hits really hard. You have Goku Black who hits hard. And obviously the more orbs that you get, the harder he hits. But overall, he does fit really well. He is potentially the best orb changer. He is potentially the best orb changer. You could probably use Kaiko and Goku from the World Tournament over him, just because he does have slightly better links for an optimal team. But overall, he does work really well, and he does fit on a monophysical team. But that is it, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. I hope you all have a great day, and I will catch you guys in the next one.